Mama Show. We're so happy you've joined us today. I have my beautiful friend, Meghan Palmquist. She is the founder of the Solopreneur COO and a fractional COO for women-owned small businesses. So all you out there own a small business, she's your gal. She spent 10 years in banking while building her operations consulting work on the side. And when her 2-year-old son was sick and hurt, her boss said he didn't care. How many of us have been in that situation where like you are in a working situation where they just don't understand the work of a mother? So she brought her kid to work anyway and spent the day watching him sit in the corner in his little cast. And by the end of the day, she knew she was done. She packed her desk with full intentions of never going back, and she never did. Hallelujah. And so that moment really became her mission, right? So she helps service-based solopreneurs build the systems that give them back their time, give them back their choices, so they never, ever have to ask permission to be a mother. She is a wife, a bonus mom, a mom, and the person her own mother counts on the most. She runs her business in the middle of all of it, and she will tell you the juggle is real, but is also absolutely possible with the right systems underneath it. Awesome. Meghan, welcome to the show. I always let my guests know if I wanted to add anything there that I might have missed.
No, that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, let's dive right in. So you left corporate, and we've had conversations with a few of our guests here where they're like, I love corporate to start a lipstick company. I love corporate to do this because we find a lot of mistreatment in that space. It doesn't allow for a lot of time, time for families. So you left corporate, you say with a broken leg, a contagious rash.
Yep.
It's a great day to quit. So walk us through what that looked like and what it finally took to say, you know what, enough is enough.
Yeah, it was definitely back up against the wall situation. You know, I was the main medical provider. So that was kind of like the biggest piece that I'm like, here I am in like the middle of chaos. And I couldn't even take him to the hospital. Like the school called and they were like, you need to come and take him to the hospital. And my boss was like, you're off in 30 minutes. I'm like, what?
You're like, it's an emergency. Yeah.
Yeah. And I still in that moment didn't quit. It was because, you know, you feel like that pressure of I'm about to go to the hospital and I have the health insurance on my name. Like, come on.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
And so I ended up, you still have to pick and choose. And I felt like I had no other choice. And so I still showed up. He ended up breaking his leg. He got hand, foot, mouth. All the things happened within a 24-hour period of time. It was actually more like a 10-hour period. It was crazy. And that next morning, when I realized that he was contagious, I was like, well, shoot, I really can't come into work. And I FaceTimed my boss because I'm like, you can't make this up. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
He did not care. He was like, if you don't come in, you don't have a job. And so I was like, okay, well, shoot, I still need to come in. You know, I do feel like some people, I feel like some people probably would have quit in that moment, but I didn't. I felt like I still had to go. And I thought that maybe I would call his bluff. I think that's really what I thought would happen. And so I brought my son with me, contagious and casted and all. And he had him sit in my office for 8 hours. And I was sitting there and just fuming inside. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. And as you mentioned, I had actually been doing my business as a side hustle for 10 years before that. I just never took the leap because I was one of those people that I really loved the stability of a paycheck. And I loved the stability of, you know, all the benefits that came with it.
100%.
But
yeah.
I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, cause it's really not stability. This is the opposite of stability. This is stuck.
Yeah.
And so that was when I packed up that day, packed up all my son's stuff and all my stuff and never looked back. And it's been a roller coaster, but I think that's one thing is, you know, as women and moms, we figure it out.
We do. We figure it out. And you were a single mom several years before building your blended family, which is where you're at now. So what did that look like while you're like, yes, I mean, that's kind of cool that you are also building something on the side. So at least you're like, okay, quit. And now I'm going to launch full into this, which is like so smart. Awesome. But that season had to have been a little bit crazy. Right. And so what did it take to survive that and dive into, you know, this new business side after you quit?
Well, so there was a period of time, about a year in between there, where I was, call it married single mom, right?
Yeah.
And then when COVID hit is actually when I left and became full single parent. We moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, and during the pandemic, and running my business at the same time with my son home full time.
Wow.
And I think that was kind of like the ultimate explosion of all things.
Yeah, probably for a
but
lot
at
of
the
people.
same, everyone was in that boat, right? And I think that to run a business during that time, though, was kind of a gift to have that flexibility and ability to do that.
Sure.
Because I had already kind of started it before the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So I had some of the things in place. I also feel, I don't know, it almost was a little bit easier to only have my son and I to navigate it, if that makes sense. At least given the previous experience that I was in, it was a different kind of hard, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so it was a lot of really late nights working because I was with my son during the day and trying to be present for him, and everything was through email and text message. And then at night I'd do Zooms. The work that I do is a lot of system setup and a lot of computer setup. So I can be working at midnight or 2 a.m. and setting up these client software while he's sleeping. And it worked out great. The hardest thing was actually networking. That was the hard part, was marketing for my business while trying to also be a mom and be the only caretaker for him. Right. Because, a lot of those networking events are at night, or even the lunch ones, they're kind of like a half-day event when you go to these things.
Yeah.
And so that was actually probably the hardest part of running a business, was trying to find the time to also market my business at the same time, which is when I really leaned heavily into posting on social media, because I could make the videos from home and post online. And, trying to do Zoom calls with him in the background, like the Zoom networking events, because those were still happening during COVID.
Yeah.
And I even posted one of those funny like reels when it was like a kid kept interrupting.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that's welcome to running a business from home, right, with a little one.
And it's kind of great timing though, in the sense that like everything was going online, right? At that point.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure within what you do in the digital space, like kind of booming at the same time, right?
It exploded.
Help. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, really where I come in is for businesses that have, maybe even if they've been successful, they might be capped, or they might be at their limit of what they can do on their own. And they don't have the time to figure out a different way of doing it.
Right.
So during that time, there was a lot of people that did everything in person and paper and pen, and had to overnight not do that anymore.
Right. Big learning.
And so yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, my business kind of exploded during that time, but it also was one of those trying to walk people through the steps of getting online to even do the Zoom,
right,
to then navigate their software.
Yeah.
We've come a long way. Everyone now knows how to unmute themselves or how to share their screen. But there was a rough transition that first, 8 months or so, of people that weren't tech people at all, trying to navigate this world. And I feel like now we're entering a different set of noise with all the AI stuff, where people are signing up for everything under the sun because that's what everyone's talking about.
Right.
And it's causing a lot of noise, and it's causing a lot of people to get distracted, and nothing's actually getting done. Right. And, everyone's posts are all sounding the same, and all of those problems. So it's kind of a different tech problem now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been interesting to kind of ride that wave.
Yeah. And riding it, you are still alive amidst it all. So now that kiddos are back in school, we're post COVID.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I mean, your challenges don't seem to stop though, right? We always think okay, now we're on a roll. And then you had the huge challenge of, your mother and her health diagnosis, and you've become her caregiver, her power of attorney. And so just when we think oh, we're in a flow and I got my time back a little bit, something, we get a curveball, sometimes whacks us in the face a little bit. How 100%. Do you manage that while, owning your own business, working from home, and not completely lose yourself and lose your mind? Because we often talk about on these types of episodes about how do I not lose myself in work, lose myself in motherhood? Like, how do I really take it on? How do I do it all? And we often talk about, we're not in it alone, that we have to bring
Right.
in a team, and in your world, a digital team and systems. And we'll get more into that, but share a little bit about, that journey and how you've kind of like stayed grounded for the most part in the midst of it.
Yeah, I think, when you go to one of those car dealerships, you see those like floopy balloon things. I
Yeah.
joke around with them. That's like my life. I'm like constantly like a floopy.
Yeah.
Because there's always something happening and something going on. And I think for me, because my brain does work in systems, one of the things is I treat every single piece of my life like individual businesses.
Yeah.
So like taking care of my mom's stuff, that is a business. That business entity has all the components with it. But by thinking of it as a business, I can kind of compartmentalize a little bit more and detach a little bit more from it. It also allows me to create tasks like a business task so that it doesn't feel so daunting. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't feel daunting, but it helps being able to attack it in a way that feels doable.
Yeah.
Honestly, having the right support system in place. I am very, very fortunate that my husband entered the picture right at the time that all of that happened with my mom. We were actually planning our wedding when all of that started.
Mm.
I really don't know how I would have gone through all that if I didn't have him by my side. And it
Yeah.
also just goes to show that having the right partner makes the world of a difference to be able to do all the things.
Yeah.
I never really realized that until I'm in that moment of how else would I have done it? He was able to help me pick up the pieces and watch my son while I could keep working, or watch my son while I'm literally taking a Zoom call in my mom's hospital room.
Yeah.
Because it is a juggle, right? Like I truly believe that the word balance is a myth that we're never going to be able to achieve. It is
It's
a
true.
juggle.
Yeah.
And,
Something always, giving and taking. And if we were right here
yes,
balanced, like we also wouldn't be growing or like doing much, right? We would just kind of
agreed. So for me, it's, how do you identify what balls are glass versus plastic versus rubber?
sure. Yeah.
And which balls are maybe lighter than others so you can throw them further and it'll take them longer to come back.
Yeah.
And which ones can roll under the couch and it's okay.
Right. That
But
later. Yeah.
yeah. But I think identifying every single piece of what all the balls even are that you're dealing with has been a huge way of how I'm even dealing with all of it. Because I
Yeah.
will say the first couple months, it felt impossible, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I not just close the doors of my business or put we'll reopen in a couple months, sign up? But that's not
Sure.
realistic either.
Yeah.
And so you got to just kind of like lay all the pieces out. And that's really the first step for me in any of the clients that I work with is you have to identify everything that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Whether you're, a solopreneur or an employee, we're all running multiple businesses.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mission that I'm on, is to help people treat all these different parts of their life as different businesses. Like, especially as mom, if you're a team mom, if you're the class mom, if you're on the PTO, that's 3 businesses.
Yeah.
All of them have notes and all of them have appointments and all of them have follow-ups. No different than a business. You're just unfortunately not getting paid for it.
Right. 100%. But we can make our life easier and save us a lot of time, energy, right? And effort
Yeah.
when we put, our life into systems. And I remember describing that to my kids, like as our household, as like a business, and how to keep it
Yes.
running efficiently and successfully. And, when
Exactly.
one member drops the ball completely, then, that's more work for the others. And, sometimes that workload falls on the mom. And how is that fair, right? How is that fair that,
Yeah.
I spend X amount of hours doing something that as a community we could all do, faster,
Yep.
quicker, and then, give them responsibilities too. But having them look at it in that sense. And then I remember dropping some like, I think I chat GPT like how many hours do I put in to certain tasks that they could also help out with, and how much of
Yeah.
my life in years will be right on that,
Yeah.
because
I bet that was a depressing thing to read.
And it was like, and I'm like, sorry, kids, I'm not going to spend, 12 years of my life in the kitchen cleaning up after everyone, but we can bring that down to like 3 years if we all participate. What would I rather be doing with my time and that 12 years, or what would they rather be doing? Right. And it takes all of us. So you work with a lot of women to help them build what you call the calm system. Tell us about this calm. I like to say calm system.
Calm system.
We all want calm systems in our life.
Right? Well, for me, it's every single part of your life you can apply this platform to. Okay. And it stands for C is to really collect all of your stuff. Like figure out what, like I said, collect all your pieces. Figure out, capture everything, write it all down. What is everything that you're dealing with? I think that's actually probably one of the biggest things that is an uphill battle for moms that we talk about it often, which is the mental load, right?
Yes.
Well, part of why it's the mental load is because it's not captured. We're carrying it all. We're trying to remember it constantly. Right. And so it's something that is weighing on us. And a lot of times it doesn't have to.
Right.
We think it does, but it really doesn't.
Right.
And so the first step is C, capture everything. Get it out of your head. Even though that list might be 3 pages long and looking at it feels overwhelming, it is so necessary to at least identify, right?
Yeah.
Then A is to align your tools. And I'm talking about your tech tools, right? So we have all of these apps and features available to us on our phone and on our email and calendars and all the things. That's great if you have all the things that do all the things, but if they're not aligned with what you're trying to achieve, what's the point?
Yeah.
And, I think that's also what's causing the mental load. It's all the pings, or I call it the chicken pox on your phone, right? All the little red alerts. Mm-hmm. That's weighing on you.
Yeah.
So, aligning the right tools for what you're trying to achieve. And I like to do it by seasons. So look at this upcoming season. As a mom with kids in school, my seasons are normally with the school seasons, right? Because then you can kind of, okay, summertime's coming, or this is post spring break. So, the crazy AP season.
Right.
You can always re-download apps. But if in this next season you don't need it, then get rid of that. It's just more noise.
Yeah.
And then L is limit your decisions. Stop making yourself make too many choices. How can we kind of limit that? Whether it be creating templates for things that you do all the time, or, making a worksheet of the A to Z of whatever the process is so that you don't have to retell it to your kid if they're helping you with it.
Right.
Which then brings you to M, make it repeatable. What things can we do either automated? Now we have all these different ways of doing automation. I mean, even 6 months ago, you would have to have somebody set up an automation for you. And now you can just ask ChatGPT or Claude to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to tell people, take that list that you made in the C, capture everything, put that whole list into ChatGPT and say, what on this list can be automated?
There you go. Yeah.
Because you might not be able to see it because you're in it.
Right.
And just like with the corporate world, it was kind of a hard pill to swallow a little bit, to realize it doesn't actually have to be done by you.
Yeah. Please no. Like if I can outsource anything these days, like if I don't have to think about how to write an email, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to let someone else.
Yeah.
ChatGPT do it for me. Be okay with it. Yeah.
Well, and I think, maybe a couple of years ago, it was harder to outsource things because you'd actually have to pay somebody to outsource it too. But now you really even don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty mind blowing. The more, I'm sure you blow people's minds all the time with how simple something could be, that they just didn't even think that was an option, right? I even talk about calendaring and vacation planning and summer camp planning and all these things that seem to be oh my gosh, dreading it.
Daunting.
And I'm oh, well, you just throw that into ChatGPT. It'll organize it for you. You can throw everyone's dates in there and be hey, when is 5 days that we can take a vacation, and where should it be? It's somewhere we can drive to and have blah, 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 blah. And it will.
Isn't that crazy?
And it'll give you links more research, or tell it to do a deeper dive. Or I just think that we're just so used to the old ways, right? That it's sometimes, it's a little learning curve, but I feel as though it's a pretty simple learning curve.
It is. It's just a different way of thinking, really.
It is, yeah.
And I know for me, I'm a control freak, I'll admit it. It's kind of a control issue, right?
Sure.
Some of it is feeling like you have to figure it out.
Right.
And being able to wrap your head around, well, do I?
Yeah. It's easier to like change my sister's way of thinking around this stuff than it is like my parents, right? They're a little bit more embedded in, maybe old ways of thinking or old ways of doing things. They still want to like, well, you just handle that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, really, just type this in and then look, there's your answer. Like, that's so amazing. But they won't repeat that process, right? Because it still feels very foreign to them, when I feel like a little bit younger generation is more willing, I would say, to kind of jump on that bandwagon and learn and benefit from it.
For sure. Which actually gives me a lot of hope for the next generation, that they're not going to carry this weight of mental load because they realize it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of
hopeful, at least.
It is hopeful. Yeah. There's a lot of young advocacy going on. There's a lot of, people in my generation are informing the next a lot louder, right? Which is necessary, especially for us females. Unfortunately, we have to, demand change. More vocally, I would say, right?
Yes,
but definitely. It's definitely, I see like a little bit of shift of like some of the BS that, these younger girls, this younger generation is not going to put up with when it comes to the workforce or the healthcare systems or what have you, which is pretty cool to see. It'll be interesting to see, what the next 10, 20 years bring us, but it's
for sure.
What would you say to those that are like, it's growing so fast and I can't keep track and it's just like feels so overwhelming? And, I've leaned into other entrepreneurs are like, use these 5 tools, use these 3 tools. You don't need 20. You don't need the next thing. If it's working for you, keep using it. What do you say to those, those mompreneurs who are like, I feel like I am behind, or I'm not jumping onto the next best thing because we're inundated with like, it could be better. It could be faster. And you're like,
it's the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
And it gets really noisy. I will say, and I tell this to everybody, if it's not breaking and if it's not backpedaling, then look at other areas that are, because there are other areas that are. There's always an area of your life that could use more attention, could use more focus. And I have had people that come to me and say, I want to switch my whole platform to this platform. And I'm like, okay, great, but why? And they're like, oh, because my friend uses it and they say it's the best. And I'm like, okay, but is the platform that you're currently using working for these 5 needs that you have? Well, yeah. Okay, so then what got you even thinking about wanting to switch anyway? Well, I still feel like I don't have time. Okay, well then what is your time being spent on also? Oh, well, this area of my life is bogged down. Okay, well then let's find a solution to that area.
Has nothing to do with the systems that you're running.
No. And so I think for the people that are saying, I can't keep up, or I don't know which one to do, really the question is, what are you trying to achieve? Like, just stop for a second and not matter what anybody else is doing or saying or using. What are you trying to achieve in your business or in your life in that season? What's the end result, end goal that you're trying to get to? And then work backwards. To be able to achieve that, what do I need? And most of the time, it's 3 or 4 things max. I do feel that people have gotten way too subscription happy. Especially with the cheap subscriptions, because you don't think about it. And you're like, oh, another $9.99, no big deal. But every single they add up in money, they add up in time. Then
you do the free trial like me.
And you forget to cancel
and then you forget, and then you're like, what's the $75 charge? You're like, bah!
Yes. And then it also adds to your storage. So then you get charged to have more storage.
Right.
I like to think of it as like
it is a snowball. I like to sometimes when I start doing that and going down these rabbit holes, Because like with my ADHD, sometimes like those dopamine hits, I'm like, I'm just gonna do online shopping, but I like don't anymore. I'll put it in my cart and then I won't ever check out. And I'm like, I don't really
Yeah.
need that. I was just looking for an unhealthy dopamine burst, like Carly, go
Right.
for a walk, right?
Yeah.
And I started to do that same thing with like subscriptions. I was like, oh, this looks cool, like an ADHD hack, or this looks like whatever to
Yeah.
track my cycle, or this whatever. And I just stop. I leave it in my cart. And if it's like nagging me or something that I feel like I could really use, like I have to dump something else to put that in its place. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think
Yeah.
using the, like checkout cart method and not actually following through is for those trigger
That's
happy
a
people.
good Yeah, that is a good practice to have, because sometimes it does make it way too easy to sign up for something.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
automatic.
It's just click here. Yeah. You don't even
And
need to
it'll
put the
just
card
enter,
in.
enter in your email, link to Google.
Yeah.
Check, you're signed up.
Right?
Oh, credit
It's
card, great,
crazy.
right there.
Well, and I feel like most business owners have ADHD of some sort, which is why we're crazy enough to own our own business,
Sure.
right? We are we have something in our brain that allows us to ride that roller coaster that
Sure.
a person with a fully normal sitting at a desk brain wouldn't have, right?
Sure.
So a lot of these companies have marketing that know that.
Yeah. Feeling scattered, feeling
Yes.
overwhelmed. We
Yeah.
have
And
a
so it plays to
solution.
that. And
Yes.
so, I've kind of made it a game for myself to read through
Mhm.
the marketing. Like that's kind
Yeah,
of my own little dopamine hit. Is like,
yeah,
ooh, who is the ideal audience they're trying to get?
sure.
Because
Yeah,
then I feel like I'm like playing against their
yeah.
techniques.
You're making it like an experiment.
Um, yeah. And so I've told a couple of my clients to do the same, to help bridge that,
Yeah,
because even in the same thing of scrolling and comparing yourself to other people, right? Like comparing to trips or whatever their kids are doing, it's all
sure.
a highlight reel, just like the
It is.
marketing ads are a highlight of what
Yeah,
these systems can offer. It's not really the real picture of it.
yeah, yeah.
So
They
we're
don't
trying to
they
kind
don't
of
take
find
into
that.
account the learning curve. They don't take how much time may be set up or what it includes to really just carry it out and manage it all, right? It's
Yes.
kind of like, here's the end result. And it's like, great, but like what does it take to get there? Right. It's like when signing up for a
Yeah.
course, you're like, cool, I want this. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's like 5,000 classes I have to take to get to this end
Yes.
result. But
Yeah.
like
I
you
mean, what
said,
is
like
it like?
starting with that, working backwards, like, does this really help me? Is it
Mhm.
necessary? Using that calm system, and this will all be on the show notes too, you guys. So you will be able to access that, and you can walk yourself through that calm system. What's the CALM stand for, to really help, I think, point you in the right direction and stay grounded in that.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so give us some pointers and tips, like what can someone do in their household or in their business to buy herself back some time, like 30 minutes to an hour? Like what's like, I always like to give some tools and takeaways. It's like, okay, what's one thing, if I remember anything from this episode, what's one thing I can do that I can apply right now that's, simple enough for everyone to apply right now to really like gain back some of that precious time.
The first thing is a brain dump. We got to
Okay.
get that mental load emptied out.
Yeah.
Even just taking 10 minutes, like set a 10-minute timer. Also, there's something about like if you look at a timer and the time going down, you'll get more done.
It's
So
true.
set a
It's true.
timer and make yourself just get it all out of your head as much as you can, because that's how you're going to be able to find 30 minutes, an hour, all of the time that you can get rid of.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest step that you could take. The next one is really using your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Use your calendar to lean on. I take my son's school calendar because they give you the sheet at the beginning of the year. You
Sure.
can now just take a picture of that, put it in ChatGPT, and say, give me a Google Calendar file to import into my Google Calendar. I
Hallelujah.
import his entire school calendar in, all the days off, all the half days, all the things, because then I can actually see like, oh shoot, I have to be here or I don't.
Right. And you've got multiple kids at multiple schools, like, you know how
Yes.
hard that juggle is. Next year, I'm gonna have 3
Yes.
kids at 3 different schools, elementary, middle, and high school, right? And I'm
Yeah.
just, like, dreading it, but I
Different
also
start
know.
times.
Yeah, different start times, different, like, 4-day weekends, different, all
Yep.
the all the things that they host,
Yep.
right, at the school during the school year. Although I feel like it tapers off a little bit once they get older. There's not so many. Elementary school, I feel like there's like tons of
Oh my gosh, it's all
events
every
and
week in
things
elementary.
and class things and yeah, right. And then like my
Yeah.
9-year-old, like, why didn't you come to the STEAM day, whatever? And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'll make it up to you in other ways. No, I try to go to as many things as I can, but you have to say no
But
to
it's
some of them.
constant.
But knowing that
Yeah.
they exist and knowing that like that's been important too, because I've missed a lot of stuff when I'm not on top
Yeah.
of my calendar. So I can't even prep my child to be like, hey, I'm not going to be able to go to this thing, but so-and-so's mom's going to take you around after school, whatever. And then, you
Yeah.
know, afterwards you guys get to go on a play date and go to Froyo, and then I'll pick you up at her house. So it's like my youngest likes to know a plan. She likes to know,
Yes.
like, you know, I have a digital calendar that they can click on and they can see when their activities are. And that's,
Yeah.
you know, synced to our
That
Google
makes a
Calendar.
huge difference too.
It makes a huge difference. And I was like, my kids, I've trained them to be in charge of their own schedule. And that
Yep.
is huge for a mother to not hold everyone's schedule and
Yep.
where they're supposed to be at what time and when, and what do they have to bring to each thing, right? What dance classes are you at and what shoes do you need? And you're going to swim, and
Yep.
is it at the college or is it at the school? And if they can just have access to it, they will access it because they want to know what's going on too. So you get to empower
They do.
them to know their own schedule. And I think it is so, so great for them to like from, I would say 6 or 7 years old, they'd come to the calendar and be like, I have this sometimes, you know, and I have my first two are like, they hate being late. And,
Yeah.
and so they will like make sure that you're not late, right? They're like, we got to go. We
Yeah.
got 10 minutes. We got to go. And so so that puts the pressure off me being like, we got to go, get your stuff together.
Exactly. It's a reverse pressure
Me now. Which is sometimes like, don't boss me around. Like I'm ready when I'm ready.
right?
It's so really, really, really great because now my almost 16-year-old, like I don't oftentimes know what her schedule is on there. Right. And
Right.
sometimes
But you don't have to carry it.
Work or something, but like I'm not carrying it. She's getting herself ready for swim. Luckily, we live behind campus, so she's walking down and she's doing it, and then she's walking back up. Or you know, if it's in a different location,
Huge.
bugging us to like get in the car. I got to run me down the street, and just to be able to almost completely lay off an entire human being's schedule because she got it down in her planner and on the digital calendar. It's oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I'm surprised how many people, the more I mention this, are not using any sort of calendar thing, are not doing any sort of planning sessions with their partners.
As a parent, one of the big tips that I tell all of my mom clients, set up Gmail accounts for each of your kids, even if you're not having them use them right now, but set up the Gmail account and then have their calendar be shared with you. So that way all of their events live on their calendar. So starting from the time my son was 4, he had his calendar on the little iPad, right?
Yeah.
And he can see it, and it's now become like a normal thing.
Right.
And that way, when he is a teenager, he has that already established. Nothing's going to change. I don't have to then recreate a system later.
And they think it's cool at that age when they're little. They're like, oh, I got my calendar.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And so, but it also, you know, for you, like you have a Calendly, right? That like people can book.
Yeah.
Well, I'm able to then put his school stuff on his calendar and not have it affect my availability for my scheduling links.
Right. Which is
so
key.
It also allows everything to live in one spot, but not necessarily impact the availability.
Right. I think that's what we
I
worry
see
about
that a lot too.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, but one looks very crowded and then it looks like I am available, but I'm not because I'm combining calendar apps, right?
Yep. So if you do it to, you know, they all share to each other, you can toggle on and off which ones you physically see at one time. And you can also pick and choose which ones are linked to your availability.
Yeah.
And then if there's an event that I do need to be at. Yeah.
Right. That sounds overwhelming for you. Megan is here to help you.
That is what I do. That is how I can help.
Jam. She sets up systems for people so they can live a calmer life. Should add an ER to that. So what are the results?
That's a good idea.
The ER are the results. You won't end up in the ER.
Right. Don't end up in the ER. Do these steps. Yes, exactly.
So
I love that.
So your whole reason for doing this is so that other women never have to ask permission, right? To be a mom. You've been there, you've done that. You've sat in the office being like, what the F is happening right now?
Yep.
So tell us where people can find you and what the first step would be if they want to work with you. And I mean, I recommend, Meghan, yes, for the solopreneur, for the mompreneur, but also like to get your home and systems in order. I know that last week, we had Zoe on and she talked a lot about that 4 to 8 chaos. And what does she do? She involves a system in the 4 to 8 chaos. Like, what does that look like for dinner, for their systems in meal planning, their systems in homework scheduling. And honestly, it makes our life so much easier. It really, really does. So tell us,
it does.
How can they work with you?
Yeah. I offer free online consults. So you can book a free 30-minute Zoom through my website, thesolocoo.com. And I know that'll be in the show notes. You can also follow me on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at the Solopreneur COO. It's a mouthful. And I would love to connect. I share a bunch of tips. If you're on my email list, you'll get emails with different productivity tips. One of the big things is I love to teach people how to use what they already have.
Yeah.
So a lot of the tips that I'm sharing are on the apps that your phone come with, right? Like how to maximize the Notes app or how to get the most out of your Gmail because you have a Gmail already. We don't need to pay for another thing. Let's just use the features available to us.
And they have so many features. I think that's where it can be overwhelming. You're like, okay, cool. Yeah. I've upgraded my phone and now my Notes app has like 10 other things that it does, which can be overwhelming in and of itself. But if you have little tips coming in of someone telling you that knows the jam, it doesn't make it so overwhelming. You're like, okay, cool. I can voice record and it goes to my notes and transcribes or whatever, right? It can be
exactly.
I love that.
Yes. Cool. And I love just sharing the bite-sized ones that are not just like, here's what you can do, but here's how you do it. Because I don't know about you, but it's always irritating when people like do like I call it like the carrot dangle, right? That you're like, oh, that's cool. How do I do that?
Yeah. Great. Thanks. No more info. Great. Cool. So now I'm just left wondering.
Yeah. And then you go down the rabbit hole of searching. And so I love just kind of sharing what to actually use and how to do it. So that way we can all, I genuinely feel that when women have resources and money and time, we do freaking amazing things.
It's true. It's true.
So we need to get more women able to do that.
Yeah. And it opens us up to receive more for ourselves, not receive more time to put towards, all the chaos, but really like, man,
for us.
For us. Like if you could take back some of that time for you, invest it in you. We talk about probably on every episode, like if you put yourself first and you really invest in yourself, like, oh my gosh, that's going to benefit every single person around you, starting with your family unit, right?
Well, that's part of like my cruise obsession. Is like, I realize that feeds into me. I'm able to relax for real. And I'm able to not have a mental load and not have all of those things when I'm on a cruise ship because everything else is taken care of.
Yeah.
It allows me to hit a true reset.
Yeah. You're fed and watered and all the little
and you can't go anywhere. You're on a ship.
Yeah. You can't escape. They clean your room. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, release a lot of that mental load. So taking those, I mean, I have friends that will, no matter what, schedule a staycation and just one night a month. And they're like, that reset is able to like carry them through, another 30 days. And they are happier and they're lighter and they feel like they got that, something for themselves. Like it doesn't take a lot for us to.
It really doesn't, which is so sad.
Like, give me a couple hours, of like doing me thing and like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I often joke that like sometimes other people, other men and partners, whatever, need like a whole golf day. And I'm like, no, I don't need a whole golf day. But if you're going to take a whole golf day, then I'm going to take a whole golf day.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. There's something about just even sitting in the car for 10 minutes before getting out.
Yeah.
Like
just take those moments. us, you know, and we have to grab them where we can. But if we can design them to serve us, I think that's, you know, then we're not feeling like we're grabbing and scrapping wherever we can get, that we've actually designed our life through systems, through organization, through supported help to like lead a more, you know, fulfilling, happier, less, you know, chaotic. Is always going to be a little chaotic, right? We kind of signed up for that.
It always is. Yeah.
Birth children, but it can feel less chaotic. You can feel a little organized within it, which I think is really important. And Meghan helps you do that. Meghan's got you, mama. We got you, mama. I guarantee that plenty of your friends need this episode in their life. If you were like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, and yes, please send this on to them. Like and subscribe, forward it on, spread the word. Her episode's also going to be across social media. All the stuff, all the links where you can find her, where you can book, where you can follow her will be in the show notes. So don't forget to check those out. And this will also be blasted on any major podcast platform as well. If you just want to listen while you're off for a walk, or, you know, we keep them pretty clean in here. So if you want to listen while your, you know, kids are in the car, you know, that's typically okay too. I would probably say not on the sex therapy episode, but this one, you know, like, hey, they might learn a few things. Awesome. Meghan, thank you so much for joining us. Love your face. Love you so much. I get to see her often. So I will see you soon. And don't forget, we got you, and take care. Until next time. Bye.